My name is Andy. I'm the pool cleaner technician here at Easy Test Pools in 26 Main Street in Placer, New Hampshire, 03865. And today we're going to assemble the Aquabot. First things first, I was just wanted to show you a quick thing here. When you take this all apart, you might want to take these out and clean these because there's a lot of sand and grit gets caught in them. And if you notice, before you put it all back together, because it's easier to do now than when the wheel tube's on, there's all kinds of sand and stuff gets behind there, and it keeps them out. If you notice, they're out, and there's sand in there. If you can notice the crunching noise, there's all sand and dirt in there. So if you want, just take one of these off, take them all off, clean out from behind it, take a screwdriver or a pick, and just kind of clean it out there a little bit. Make sure there's no sand, you know. Sometimes you might have to replace them if they're cracked. Now if you notice, this one is closer than this one. See, by cleaning the grit out of it, it brings it in closer to the housing. That's so your bottom basket for your bag will stay in there. Sometimes if you don't clean these out and they stay open like this, when you pull it out of your pool, sometimes the bag will fall. So now we're going to assemble this machine here. First we're going to put the drive motor back in it. These are the longer screws through the bottom here. I usually use a screwdriver to put this together because it's all plastic, and sometimes you have a little bit of a problem. Had that one a little bit too much in there, and come back over here, kind of fill your hole. There she goes. Bring that in there, tighten that up, and just snug it. Don't crank on, just snug it. It's plastic. Like I say, it's very brittle if it's been in your pool a lot. Then what you can do, you can take some of this duck dope, gray dope here, and what I usually do is put a little piece of it right in the groove where the pump motor is going to go. This seals the water from getting in there. Another piece over here. Tuck this in, like so. And then you put your white wire down on that terminal there, and your brown one over here. Screwdriver, set those down nicely. Then we're going to put the pump motor in. Here's the pump motor. This goes down through. I usually bring the robot up and around. These special screws here. Again, I usually start it with the screwdriver, the hand screwdriver, the Phillips screwdriver. Like I say again, don't over tighten stuff, you'll just break it. If you use one of these, just stop. Don't keep going. You'll break it. That's it. Let's feel a little torque on there. Hold right up. It's in there. Just go right along and just kind of give them a little torque. And that's it. What I usually do is put the cover on, so if you're flipping it around, you won't damage the impeller. Again, these screws are very small and the plastic's very brittle. I usually use this hand tighten these. Just snug it down. Just snug it. When it stops, stop. Don't over tighten everything because you'll break the ears off the cover. Here, flip it up. Again, here's your wires. Black goes to white. White goes to brown. Push it down inside there. Just like that. Push it down into the duct dope. Here's your two little nuts. Start your nuts. Screw them down. And people do this differently when they put the duct dope in. Some people pack it in there before they put the wires in there. I don't like doing it that way. Then you just take your nut driver, just snug them down, don't crank on them again, don't over tighten stuff. And then take your gray duct dope. What I usually do is pack it around it. Just keep pushing it in there, pushing it in there. She'll seal up. As long as it's soft enough, you can always just keep taking your thumb and packing it in there, packing it in there. Like I say, people do it different. I do it this way. Just keep packing it in there. She'll work around the wires because the wires are rigid enough so you can get it in there. Then when that's all set, you take your little screw and your cover. Put your screw into the cover. Start to screw down through. You just snug it up. That's very small. Then go back and get your dope again, gray putty again. And seal it up all the way around. All the way around the wires and everything. Just keeps the water from getting in there. Especially around the wires. Just kind of pack it in there. Don't be too fussy with it, as long as it's in there and packed in there. And on the edge here, I usually just take a little bit here. Kind of smooth it out a little bit. Make a snake out of it. Just kind of go along here and pack it in there. Doesn't have to be pretty, just want it to do the job. And that's that. Next, we're going to put the end plates back on. This is the end plate. There's your rollers. Goes there. You flip this up inside here. Again, goes down like this. Flip it around, you put your screws in. You stop when it stops when it bottoms out. Don't over tighten it. See how it will do that? Sometimes what you have to do is kind of push it in, give it a little torque. All right. Next. What I usually do is take your wheel tubes, inspect your wheel tubes. This could use some new brushes, but like I said, this is only a demo, so we're just going with the flow here, just to show you how it's done. Make sure your spacer washers are on the wheel tubes. Come over here, the bushing in. I usually do it. There's different ways of doing it, but this is the way I feel comfortable doing it. Snap rings, slide them in. Very simple. Like I said, this is not the drive side, so you're not going to have any drive belts on this end here. Flip this up. This is your drive end. Again, we're going to change out the drive pulley, because I think we've talked about this before, is that the difference, this is a worn one, this is a new one. And so you can see the difference in taper. And this one's split at the ends, so you want to do away with that. You don't want to use that. So what happens, these pieces break up, and like I said before, they get jammed up into your motor, and there's your drive belt assembly right there. Next, your other end plate, the rollers for your belts go on. Here's your drive belts. One goes like that. The other one goes like that. And you got these rollers. Where this belt is up higher, you're looking at your cover like this. This is going to go up, because this bigger part puts the tension on your belt. And opposite of the other side, because this is a lower belt. And what I usually do, make sure your bushing's in there, your spacers, snap that in there. You take this, you kind of play with it a little bit. Like that. Like so. You put your bushing back on here, upside down, so it follows into the grooves, your belts. Always make sure your belts are in position. Like that one fell out. So what I usually do is prop this up, so give you a little slack. Put that back up there, bring that around, drop it down, and there you go. Always look, make sure that everything's lined up. Come over here, Bill. There's the bigger part of the pulley, the roller. That's where your belt's going to put the tension on, because it's on the low one, and the other one's flipped up the other way because it's on the high side. Then you take your screws, take your bushings here, bring that over, drop it down. Same way here. When you're doing this, you're tightening up on your belts. These little bobs here go into these little grooves. You can't mess it up. It won't go on unless you get it right. Take your snap ring, snap that in. There it goes. Always put the flat side up. You can see the difference, a little bit of a roll to the snap ring on one side or the other. I always put the flat side up. Here it goes. Now if you look down through here, you got good tension on these belts. The rollers are in the right spot. Everything is straight. Next, you put your bag protector back in. Slide that down. Screws. Yep. And what I usually do when you put these on, I usually put these on afterwards. You can't, it's kind of hard to try to put these on at the same time when you're trying to put the end plates in. So what I usually do is just put that there. Make sure these here are rolling inside the middle of the wheel tubes and your rollers. You just kind of roll around. Just like that. Make sure that's inside there, just like that. See how it's falling in there? Same way as the roller tubes. And you can see where it's not in all the way. What I usually do is kind of turn this, and move it around. That's one's in. See the difference between that one and that one? This one ain't in all the way. Always make sure that that's in all the way. Now that's all the way in. Same way on the other end. Same thing. Always make sure it's in the grooves. Work it around. Sometimes it's a little tougher with new belts, but it will go. You're not going to break it. Of course, the bag goes over this. You snap that in like that. And that's it. Disassembly and assembly of our Aquabot Turbo.
You can reach us for all your robotic vacuum cleaner parts and accessories right here at Easy Test Pool Supplies in Plastow, New Hampshire. Thank you very much, Andy.